Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to KawaiiCon 2023. My name is Brian Roberts, and this is...
My name is Reese Chirilla. Thank you.
Yeah. Woo! We'll be talking to you for the next half hour to an hour or so about our panel, Retrofuture, the art of remaking classic video game music. Myself and Reese were from a band called Console. We're based out of Honolulu. We also have our keyboard player over there on the side just hanging out. And we're a band that takes music from video games, turns them into a rock band kind of setting, and then we deliver that to audiences, usually live, but sometimes with recordings or with videos, things like that. The bottom left corner is us at KTUH playing live over the radio. Top right was KawaiiCon last year. And then on the bottom right, we got us partying at the bar. Anyway, so our panel's about the process of careful selection all the way to the final delivery of live performance or record release. So before we get started with that, we're going to talk to you real briefly about the history of video game music and how this all kind of got started. So as some of you may or may not know, video gaming kind of got its start in its beginning stages in the 60s and 70s. This is when the computer games Asteroids and Asteroids and Pong. Oh, hello, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
The whole gang's here. Okay, anyway.
What's going on this week?
Oh, we're doing our panel. That's what's going on.
All right.
Come on in, everybody. Don't be shy. Anyway, it got started with Pong. So that's kind of like the first video game that kind of hit mainstream audiences, if you can call it that, at that point. At the time, though, the capacity of what they were dealing with, they couldn't really do too many sounds at that time, so there wasn't really any video game music at the time. They did have sound effects, but video game music as we know it had yet to begin. It wasn't until the early 80s, so about 10, 20 years later, when arcade cabinets kind of hit the scene, the hardware could be a lot bigger, and the software got better, et cetera, et cetera. And this is when short, repeatable themes were a possibility. And this, in my opinion, would be the beginning of video game music as we know it. There's a couple instances... Oh, that's that right there.
That's a great example.
Yeah. I want to say a game like Pac-Man would be one of the first instances of memorable video game music. But even so, it was very short. It was like a 3-second loop, and that can get kind of annoying. Usually I have people here kind of say, do we have that as a sample?
We actually have it.
Oh, but we gotta plug your laptop in.
Oh, we got it.
That's what happens.
Stick around. Just kidding.
Probably playing. Yeah, probably. All right. Okay, here we go. So you play it, okay, but just be ready to do volume. So there you go. Repeat. And repeat. And repeat. Hello. Come on in. So there you go. You get the idea. Thanks for joining us. A little private showing. So that was kind of like the first instance of video game music, I'd say the Pac-Man theme. And as more graphical and aural possibilities came to fruition, more and more things became possible. So that was the beginning, but I don't think it got its kind of a start until Nintendo came along with the Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo and so on and so forth. But since then, video game music has gone from bleeps and bloops, like what you heard, to full-blown Hollywood score kind of things today. And most of the time we're dealing with music that's from our generation, so like from the 90s and 2000s, before it got too commercialized, not to sound like a hipster, but yeah. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And if you don't already know this, video gaming is slated to kind of take over everything for like the most profitable source of media. It's going to eclipse movies and TV shows and music and all that stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, all right. So that's the long and short history of video game music. A little bit about me. I play guitar. I also played a lot of video games growing up. I'm from Kauai originally, and I spent a lot of time playing Super Nintendo and a lot of time playing guitar. And so being in a video game band is kind of my thing. And then Reese is also a gamer.
I am. Yeah, I'm originally from Ohio, and I've played video games all my life. I was a Sega Genesis player for a long time, then the N64, and then the PlayStation, and then I kind of became a PlayStation fanboy after that. But I still love Nintendo, don't get me wrong. Yeah, then I started to play drums. I had a stepbrother who was extremely talented at drum set, and that inspired me to want to pursue drums within a band situation, so to speak. And started playing in different bands when I was in high school, mostly hard rock and metal. But then throughout that whole experience, I started to realize how unique and interesting classic video game music really was. And so years later, ending up here in Hawaii and finding on Craigslist this posting, this video game band looking for a drummer, I thought it was really too good to be true. But Ryan invited me to the audition, and we've been jamming ever since.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. We're an online Craigslist band. At least as far as our relationship with Reese is concerned. But yeah, we're happy to have you, and I'm thankful you're doing this panel with me as well. So that's us. And the band kind of got started in 2017, and here we are in 2023, so a couple years later. And we're here at the con. Later on, we're going to be performing at 3:30 at main stage. If you can break away, come check us out. All right, our panel, the process. So you're in console and you want to do a song. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what song. You got to select a song. So that's step one, selecting a song. What's kind of fun about this is if you're in a collaborative situation, which is what we have, it can be kind of difficult to decide who gets to decide on what song, why that song, what's the goal of that song. What if somebody in the team thinks it's a stupid choice? A group of volunteers, as some of you may know, volunteering at KauaiCon, it's a little bit different than a company full of paid employees. You can't just tell them what to do, kind of a thing. So it's a process, but the first thing you need to do is decide on a song. And even if you put a lot of care in the selection of a song, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it to the final step. Failed inventions are a frustrating part of the process, and yeah, more on that later. So regardless of who selects a song, I ask myself some initial quality control questions. I ask myself, does this song rock? Can I see it being a good choice? Is it an asset? Is it a good fit? Is it even appropriate? And lately I've been really thinking about something called foreign value. Would somebody not into video game music at least like it? So this is what's called foreign appeal. Interest to those who are not just necessarily inside that niche. So I ask myself all these questions before moving forward with a song. And at the end of the day, I want my team to have the better choices than I do. That's the joy of being a collaborator, is you, yourself as an individual, you want to have the worst ideas if you have a good team. So you want your other teammates to have better ideas in the ideal situation. So we select a song. However we do it, that's what we do. And from there, we have to get to work. And the first thing we need to do is find whatever our source track is going to be. And we use YouTube quite a bit for that. And then from there, we pull all the musical information we can from it. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of patience and hearing skills and all of that. Personally, I kind of enjoy it, so that's why I do it. And I use this program called MuseScore to keep track of my findings. It seems like it could be a pretty daunting task, learning material from ear all by yourself. But to give it some perspective, video game music, especially from the 90s and 2000s, are just kind of short, repeatable loops. So it's not like learning 5 minutes of like a unique thing. It's usually about 30 seconds to 40 seconds and then just repeating forever and ever. So up next we have like a slide that kind of shows kind of exponentially how these things grow. And at the very top of the list for Reese here, we have the Sega Genesis intro.
Yes.
It goes, Sega. That's it. Done. And you repeat that. So way at the top of the intro, at the top of the list is the Sega Genesis intro. After that, we have the Pac-Man theme, which you just, if you were here earlier, you heard it, and it goes, and repeat. So that's twice as long as the Sega Genesis intro. After that, we got an obscure tune from Chrono Trigger. That's twice as long as Pac-Man. Then we have the Final Fantasy Victory Fanfare, which is the halfway there. Done. So that's twice as long as that. Twice as long as that is the Super Mario Brothers theme, and everybody knows that one. You can imagine if there's like a lot of people here, they might be singing along and it's pretty fun. But anyway, so on and so forth. And a point of interest is like kind of a short pop song is a lot longer than the Super Mario Brothers theme. It's like 3 times longer. So just something to kind of keep in mind. So if you can learn a Backstreet Boys song or a Taylor Swift song, you can learn like 5 video game songs in the same amount of capacity. And then for posterity, we have Stairway to Heaven down at the bottom is one of the longest well-known songs, I think. So anyway, yeah. And at this point, I'm gonna get Mikey's participation, I guess.
Mikey!
And we're gonna do some crowd participation stuff. We're gonna kind of take a peek at the process. So we're gonna take a song from Undertale called Megalovania, and what I'm gonna have us do as a group is we're gonna figure out where the loop is, so where the loop begins and ends, and we're also going to figure out where the chord changes are. So if you're not musically inclined, that's fine, but anytime there's kind of a change in harmony, you're gonna point up, and anytime we've come back to the beginning, we're gonna do a chop. A little strange coordination, but you got that, Mikey? So I guess we'll go ahead and play it, and then again, the volume is like too loud or something. That's perfect. Big chord change, chord change, chord change, loop. Layers coming in and out, it's still the same thing. Yeah, there should be a chord change every time. So there you go. There. I got an idea for this too. I could say now you got like a disco going on. Having everybody point. That'd be fun. We're figuring this out as we go. This is actually our second time doing this. So that's pretty much a simple version of what we do for a song.
I'm so sorry, this slide was not supposed to be in here. I apologize.
So these next couple, as Reese is queuing this up, the program I used for recording my findings is a software transcription thing, music stuff. And this is kind of what it looks like. So what this represents is a completely blank slate. You open it up, there's nothing. Those little black ticks on those boxes just basically mean nothing. So try to remember what we just did. We listened to that loop maybe like, I don't know, 40 times just now, so that should be kind of stuck in your head. So on and so forth. So the next slide is going to be melody line, if I'm not mistaken. So that is exactly the, I don't even know how to play it. Yeah. Oh, then you gotta hit volume on that. It generally doesn't want to stay. So that's what that is. Okay. So that's like the first thing I do is I find that by ear and write it down in that thing. Gotta learn how to read sheet music. After that, I put the inferred chord harmony. So whatever that next slide is. So right above it, you'll see, I know it's probably hard to see, but I put the chords that it belongs to. So. So I think we got a loop though, just note to self in the future. No biggie. We're chilling. You guys enjoying yourself? Thanks for joining us, newcomer.
Thank you.
We're going over how we take video game songs and turn it into our rock band. If you want to come see us live, we perform at 3:30 at main stage. What's up?
I was so confused because I was mixing up a chord change with a key change.
No.
So I was like, wait, but this is all in the same key.
Sure. So my thing is I just assume nobody knows anything about music, so I just go chord changes in harmony, that's about it. So mostly it's just, you know, the melody is what everybody kind of remembers, and then the chords are like the hidden juice behind it. As you get more advanced in music, you realize that the chord is pretty much everything. So yeah, all the same key, in this case the key of D minor or F, if that means anything to you. But anyway, so that's the next thing I do. After that, I start to get the structure of whatever section we're in. So wonders of technology, just copy paste. And then I think I have little markings on the side that says insert bass, insert drums, insert whatever as those layers go by. So now I'll just keep moving on forever. So right here, the bass would enter. And the full band, so we just go all these layers. If you can recall what you're listening to earlier. Okay, that's good. Come on in. And then I add the bass parts, and these ones you don't necessarily need to play, just there's the bass underneath, and then I'll put the guitar, and so there's guitar, and then the full band. So it just keeps getting more and more complicated as I add these layers, and then final total, yeah, go back to the slide, unless you're really playing along. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, so that's guitar. Yeah, there's the full band. I think it loops again. So if you're doing that, right? Chord change, loop. Now will be the next part, which we omitted. But when you hit the next part, you repeat the same process. Listen for that section to repeat, and then stay within that area until you flesh out all the things. And then once you're there, you have gutted the song, basically. You got all the nuts and bolts. And then we step over to arranging. And arranging, in my opinion, when you're covering other people's material is where the creativity lies. So for those of you who just are joining us, our panel is about taking video game music and turning it into a band setting. And if you want to see us do that live, we're performing at 3:30 at main stage with the full band. So this is kind of a promotional thing for it. And if you like video games, if you like music, or have any musical training, that's what it's all about. But anyway, so our panel is about the process from song selection to figuring out the parts, which you just kind of slipped in on, and now for arranging. So we're going to talk about arranging. So now that we have all the puzzle pieces, now we have to assemble it. If we follow the song exactly like how it is, it's not really anything to write home about. So the creativity comes from rearrangement. There are countless artists who have taken people's original music and have turned it into totally different things. I think Jimi Hendrix, All on the Watchtower is a pretty good example, or...
That wasn't his song.
Yeah, that's when you know somebody's covering it really well, is that the person covering the original thing becomes like bigger and better than the first thing, if that makes sense. Hurt by Nine Inch Nails as covered by Johnny Cash. I think that was a pretty good one. For people in Hawaii, we have Israel Makaviva Ole doing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is originally the Wizard of Oz song, not his song. And so on and so forth. And there's a lot of people doing reggae covers of random songs here in Hawaii if you've turned on the radio. So it's been done. We're not unique to this. So for me personally, I strive to do something clever with the source material. Either that means extending certain sections, shortening certain sections, having a totally different instrument play certain things, just whatever kind of creative idea comes to me. If I don't have a good idea after an extended period of time, that's when I go fishing on YouTube to see if other people have good ideas, but I usually reserve that for like Armageddon scenarios. I try not to plagiarize as much as possible. So, for an example of reimagining a song, let's modify Megalovania, what we've been hearing. Since we're here in Hawaii, let's do a quick reggae reimagination of Megalovania. So in order to do this will be fun. Okay. In order to do this, I need all of us to count out loud like this. We're gonna go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So Reese will be my audience. 2, 3, 3 and 4 and 1
And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3
Okay,
and
great.
4.
So we're gonna come back to that in just a little bit. I like the head bobbing, that is very important. Feeling the upbeats. To get a reggae feel, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the chords on every time you say the word "and." That's what makes reggae reggae as far as a guitar player is concerned. You play the chord on the end. So the song originally was, how was it? Something along those lines, right?
Right.
So now, I'll change the setting on my guitar, and then also I'm only going to play on the upbeats. I'm hearing that. You heard that? No. No, anyway. Okay, back to the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So notice how I'm playing on every single time you say and 4. That's what makes reggae reggae. 2, 3. One of the two things.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4.
So that's how you can make a reggae version of a song. You just take the chords and put them on an upbeat. That's what that's called. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of the drums on the 2 and the 4. So as Reese is doing that. Okay, so in this case, I need you to clap on 2 and 4. Okay, so we'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You don't actually have to clap, but. There we go. Fixed it. It's stereo and mono. Anyway. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Oh, you gotta put the kick and the snare on 2 and 4. Oh, that's reggae, man. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can play with the hi-hat in the middle. Okay, sound check. Just play. 1 and 2 and. There you go. Okay, so here's a. that's the reggae version. Yeah. And that's kind of it. So you learn like kind of the tropes of each genre, and up to you if you want to be a reggae video game music band or a rock video game music band or jazz or whatever. You just got to kind of learn the tropes. So I'm open to changing our name to any kind of reggae-based thing. I came up with what did I come up with? Consulfarian. That's what I came up with. Consulfarian. Okay. So the next thing we do is a mock-up. So I use the technology of whatever we're using to make a mock-up, and then I give that to the bandmates, have them listen to it, and idealistically everybody learns their parts, but that's not often the case. So a lot of times I have to go and teach people the songs, kind of like how I taught you guys how to play reggae just now. And I go segment by segment, and yeah. And let's see. So at this stage, we rehearse, and I call this the gestation period, while we kind of let it stew, kind of decide if this is a good idea, if this is kind of not so good, change some things around. And oftentimes we'll sit with a tune for a while, and we'll make as many edits to the first draft until something cool happens. For example, we had a song from Sonic the Hedgehog. We do Green Hill Zone. That's the, what is that? We were playing that for maybe about 2 years, and I kind of thought it was one of our lamer songs until somebody suggested that we coincidentally do a reggae breakdown in the middle, and that like really injected some new life into it, and I was like, okay, this is actually one of our better songs. But that's an example of a long gestation period. It took like a long time before that actually felt right. So I went from being one of our weaker songs to maybe one of our stronger songs. And so there's no clear-cut period as far as like, is it going to be a short window or a long window? Get the epic music outside. Can you hear it? Oh, you ran away. Okay. At any point in time with the band, I try to make sure we have at least one new song that we're working on, and then we're rehearsing all our previous songs. After a comfortable gestation period, then we take it to the live audiences, and then we do live performances. So this can be pretty exciting. Besides all the administrative and logistical problems, that goes forward. Well, do you guys have any questions? I don't. No? Okay, we'll save it for later. Just keep going. All right, thank you. Yeah! So besides all the administration and logistical and managerial adult things that go into booking a show, there is some care that needs to get put into the live performance, knowing what tunes you should play for particular audiences, and in what order. That's its own art form in itself. Where will this new tune go if we're doing Megalovania? Does it go at the beginning of our set? Does it go in the middle? Does it go in the end? Will it be something we play every single time we perform? Will it be something that we only play sometimes? Is it a song that we only play upon request? Is it a song that we should retire very quickly? Is it a song that we should only record and never acknowledge its existence? It's kind of hard to say. So even if it's a tune that we've worked on for a while, and it's something that we collectively or individually love and believe is pretty clever, it doesn't necessarily mean it will be a hit with general audiences. So this is the exciting thing. While we're performing, I can observe an audience and see what songs are landing and what songs are not. It can be really warm when it hits, but it can also be soul-crushing when it doesn't. So I use these indicators and my own opinions on whether a song is like an S-tier song or an F-tier song, right? Isn't that a popular thing, tier systems? So up next we have a clip of 2 songs from last year's KawaiiCon. One where it's pretty obvious the crowd is loving it. And then another where they're not. Are the songs good? Are the songs bad? It's, who knows? But for a party setting, for a big event, I think the choice is pretty clear. So you can take your attention there. Stand by, stand by. Nope. Sorry. So, this is from last year. Play! And if you want to see this live, we'll be there at 3:30. And then this is the next song. Personally, I like this song better, but yeah, not a lot of body movement. And you can see tons of people, but they're just kind of. So that's an example of you could work all this time, you could spend a half hour explaining a panel or whatever, and you get to this stage live, it can bomb, or a song you don't care about at all could be a hit. Yes?
I was there last year.
Oh yeah.
I thought that they told us that like, just sit down and just enjoy the music. If you're like told ahead of time, like, yeah, you guys can use.
Go buck wild?
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's what happened kind of at,
I see.
Year later half, that's when.
Oh, that's what happened in the later half. You guys got scoldings.
So basically, like, once we kind of figured like, that we could do all that, then, because I thought that at first, like, we try to be respectful. So
Okay.
sitting there just listening.
Okay.
But if we, you just get ahead, like, yeah, it's fine to just, stand up.
Get up and boogie. Come to the front of the stage. Okay.
Then people were like, oh, yeah. Because, like, at first, when they saw this, the 2-7 moon,
Yeah, the Sailor Scouts, yeah.
Nobody saying anything.
No.
And then people started like, oh, yeah, it's not a problem. And more people
Yeah.
gather.
The icebreaker.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and thank you for seeing. I love it.
Oh, wow. Thanks for coming to check us out, and thanks for telling all us that. Yeah, cool. We'll maybe see you at 3:30 then. That's where we'll be performing after this. Cool. I'll be sure to say that.
Yeah, it's just making people make sure, because there was the incident prior where somebody may have crossed the no-go zone for one of the Japanese.
Oh, sure.
So that there's kind of like, don't do this,
sure.
please. There's that kind of boundary we need to set up. But if there's no need for a boundary and we can get up and oogie, then yeah, let us know. And then people will be more like,
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah, all right. So this takes me back to a previous thing where do you put something in your set list? So I'm already calculating when I'm going to make that announcement. So I'm thinking after song number 2 or 3. So then right there I'll be like, okay guys, get your ass out of the seats. Come on up. It's all part of the stagecraft. So it's not just a song too. So
Yeah, but definitely what happened with one of the Japanese performers earlier, they kind of...
they sour it up a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, good to know. You heard it here first, everybody.
Wow.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us here and checking us out last year. And so yeah, some songs hit, some songs don't, for whatever multitude of reasons. So somebody like me could be reading into it and not knowing that it's because somebody the day before was like harassing some singer chick or something. Who knows, right? But anyway, playing a song live is one final chance to see if a tune is going to be good or not, whatever that means. So at this point, even a song at this point in development is not immune to failure and can still be destined for the discard pile. If you have an hour and a half of music, which I think that's where we're at now, and you're only slated to perform for 1 hour, you got to ditch a half hour worth of songs. So it might be one of those songs.
And that's always kind of a battle.
That can be a battle too. After that, we record, and we've still been in the stages of recording. So the CD you got, I think, was our performance from 2019. We have CDs again from last year, so I'll be giving those out as well. And
This is what happens when you make the drummer make the slides.
can you see it?
You can see it.
Yeah. So recording. So and funny you should say that, but like 50% of the recording grade is drums. Like you gotta get the drums recorded like perfectly, and whatever that means. But that has to have a lot of care compared to everything else. Drums and then melody, like whatever your singer or melody. These are two things that need to be like, which saddens me as a guitar player. But I'm just telling you here first. What's up, Tomas? Everything okay? That's our security for today.
Not really.
So, real briefly about our recording process, we record the drums first, then the bass, then the chords, then the melodies, and then spend years mixing, trying to get the perfect balance of all the things. And then, I don't have any experience in this band releasing music yet, but in other bands, we use DistroKid to
Me neither.
distribute it to worldwide audiences. So, there you go. And yeah, so that's our process. We select the song, we figure out the parts of the song, we rearrange it, we practice it, we perform it, and we record it and release it. So that's our process. Hi, join us. Don't be shy. It's okay. So yeah, that's our panel, pretty much. Does anybody have any questions about that?